So this is my pencil sketched here on the canvas of Deadpool. And what I need to do next, I need to actually do some black line and draw him on there so that I can paint on it. This is my sketch right here that I put together. And let's go ahead and start. Now, of course, what I'm using right now, this is a Holbein acrylic ink marker, and it's refillable. So what you do with this is you pull the cap off when it's empty and you pour more Holbein acrylic black ink into that, and we'll get into that a little bit later once we're done. But this is the size, this is the smallest size pen that I like to use. And the reason I like to use the acrylic ink is because it is acrylic based. It's not like a Sharpie right here. These are not archival. So these can cause some problems years down the line. Otherwise I would use that. But I like this better because this is just like painting or drawing with acrylic paint, but in ink form. It's essentially just acrylic ink. So when I put acrylic over this, when I paint it, there won't be any problems with any of the solvent ink from like a Sharpie coming through, basically eating its way through the acrylic paint. This is just acrylic on acrylic this way, but this really, these markers are great because they really save a lot of time from having to dip ink, black ink or black paint, just to get this on the canvas here. Now I could just start painting on the over the pencil that I have here, but I like drawing it with ink, making black lines where I want. They'll all be painted over eventually, but this, as I paint, I find for me it makes it easier to kind of find my way around. And as I don't sit down and just paint in one shot, sometimes I get up for a while or for a few days and get away from painting. I like being able to sometimes see some of the line that finds its way. You faintly see it through the paint. And one of the final touches when you do the painting, we'll talk about this once we start painting, is you make sure none of those lines show. And you start painting a little bit more opaquely. But for today we're going to focus on the line aspect of it. Doesn't have to be perfect. Like I said, most of this line is going to be, actually all of this line is going to be covered. But this is also good because you can put kind of like guidelines in here so that you know where your paint's going to go, different colors. And so for this is where my shadows for my muscle tones are going to go. It does not have to be perfect. Actually, it's probably better that it's not. Because one of the things I love about painting is that, you know, it never actually has to be done, because you can paint back into it and make changes and stuff like that. So if you keep it loose, it kind of leaves it open for you to make some changes on the fly. So what I like to do sometimes, I make some changes as I'm going along. So this is going to be my fourth Marvel Legacy painting in its reboot stage. Of course, we did Spider-Man, Captain America, and Iron Man, and that we did those. When I say we, I'm saying I did the art, and they were produced by Choice Collectibles. They have the exclusive official Marvel Fine Art license. I'm very proud to be part of that. This is the fourth piece. Of course, the Black Panther, that was released as an official print. So even though a lot of this is going to be black, you still want to draw it in. So for this piece, It was really important that, well, for all the pieces, I really try to get to know the characters as they're created. I know it's very important to the fans, but it's also important to me, the artist, because I want to communicate certain things that are important about the character. And while this is not anything, my art is not anything canon, there's nothing that goes along with the stories, the artwork is still celebrating the characters themselves in the Marvel Universe. So it's really important to know all about them. And I'll be honest with you guys, I didn't know much about Deadpool until I actually saw the movie. I love comic books and I grew up with them, but I honestly kind of got out of collecting comic books and reading them probably in high school. Didn't come from the richest of families, so I kind of had to make a decision on where my focus was going to be. Was it going to be comic books and my art, or playing basketball? And I loved basketball. A lot of you guys know that. I still do. And that was my dream to do that. So when you're only young once, so I went basketball. But that was right around the time that Deadpool came out as a character. And of course, back then, as a brand new character, nobody gave it much thought. But he took off and got bigger and bigger and bigger when I was at college. And I saw Deadpool going on out there, but I didn't really know anything about him. And then just as time goes on, you just learn some things. And like I said, it's important for the details of things. And I will still admit, even though I know a lot about Deadpool now, when I first started this, than I did when Deadpool was first around, and because of the movie, a great deal, to be honest with you, still need some help. So this is another thing that you artists out there need to be sure to do, is make sure you got good friends, number one. This is where this is going. And don't be afraid to ask them for help. And that's what I did here. I went to my good friend Kat, and he is the biggest Deadpool fan expert that I know. So this is a shout out to Kat. Thank you so much for all the info. And he gave me a lot. There's a lot I didn't know about Deadpool. And seeing that there is a huge Deadpool fan base out there, I wanted to make sure that I got a lot of details in here, a lot of things correct. And so, of course, what am I drawing right now? I'm drawing a cell phone, a smartphone. Why am I doing that? Because number one thing about Deadpool, of course, which most people know, is that Deadpool's kind of silly. He's very irreverent, breaks the fourth wall. That's the big thing with Deadpool. So he's being silly here, taking a selfie.